So, David, what was your goal in attending the Entrepreneurial Leadership module?
Well, I had three goals really, and the first really was to improve my knowledge and understanding of the whole concept of leadership. And what I discovered was that the basic definition of leadership is an individual's ability to influence a group of individuals um, in a certain new direction towards a particular goal. I also discovered from Mr. Daniel Goleman that technical skill is just part of what's required to be a good leader these days. He reckons that leaders, to be rounded and to be effective, need to have great emotional intelligence. And he describes emotional intelligence as being a phenomenon that has five particular attributes, one of which is um, self-awareness, self-regulation, social skills, motivation, and empathy. And his view is that leaders who have the combination of the technical skills as well as the soft skills in the form of emotional intelligence are better able to lead complex teams in this globally competitive world. In addition to that, there's a view by Justin de Giulio who says that leaders are not born but made. And I found that quite astounding, because there were times when I actually felt that leaders were indeed born. But it turns out that research shows that they have not been born, they've been made. So the second reason for my joining this program was for me to improve my leadership skills and confidence in leadership. And I think I've done that to some extent now, because since joining the course in September last year, I've been promoted to management at DHL where I work. And a lot of what I've learned, I've been able to apply directly into what I do at work. Additionally, as the owner of a small business startup media company, I'm able to actually transfer much of what I learned on this course in my everyday duties as an entrepreneur on that small business. So the last reason for me joining this course is to understand the essential concepts, or many of the concepts that underpin the whole idea of entrepreneurial leadership. And I discovered that leaders within the entrepreneurial sphere are people who discover and exploit profitable opportunities within certain markets. And I find that quite interesting and relevant to my circumstances.
Okay, so were there any books that helped you along the way?
Well, there were several books that the course convener has suggested, but there was one in particular that I recall that has been of particular interest to me, which is The Culture Code by Daniel Coyle. And the reason for that interest is because Daniel speaks of the vulnerability loop, which essentially is a phenomenon that takes place when two or more people try to improve the quality of their relationship through communications. And the way it works, from what I remember, is one has to present themselves as being vulnerable to the other picking up on that vulnerability and responding in like fashion. And then in the end, you have a mutual vulnerability that causes the relationship to increase in value, and thereby causing better communication going forward.
Interesting. So how did you find the module itself?
The module was great. It was quite interesting the way the course convener had started the class. She reminded me of an old headmaster or headmistress, where she made sure that people understood that, one, we were at level 7, so the kinds of things that teachers would have tolerated at level 3, 4, and 5, she wouldn't tolerate. Like being punctual, doing assignments on time, paying attention to detail in terms of referencing and that sort of thing. And she also made reference to the importance of not plagiarizing your work or our work. So that was, to me, a good thing, because I've practiced as a professional all my life, and coming at this level and hearing that was a breath of fresh air to me.
Okay. So, did you have any assignments or case studies to do?
Yeah, we had an assignment, which was in the form of a case study, actually, where we were required to pinpoint a particular icon or personality within our communities, and write about them. I think we had a 1,500 words limitation on that assignment. And I chose my icon, Richard Branson, who was the owner of the Virgin Group. And I looked particularly at him because I've been following him for some time, and I was curious about his leadership style, two of which he possesses, which is one, transformational, which means basically he doesn't like to see things remain the same, and he always thinks that there's a way he can add value to things, and being quite disruptive, as he is in upsetting the status quo. And secondly, he's also a laissez-faire leader, in the sense that he does not do everything, and he delegates stuff to his subordinates to get them to get on with getting things done, which in some ways empowers them. So that was quite intriguing for me to discover. And also his resilience in the sense that he's working on this Virgin Galactic spaced program, and one of their trial runs went desperately wrong a few years ago, where it crashed and killed the test pilot. And he was able to bounce back, which is essentially what resilience means, and get back into the run of things, and get the business moving back on course, which is basically to be part of the idea of getting civilians out of space within the next 5 to 10 years. So that was quite interesting. But the thing that was disappointing about that exercise was the assignment being flagged for plagiarism. And I think it was because that I had brought in several quotes from people who had worked with him or worked for him, and Turnitin, the platform that looks at these assignments, mentioned that I had too many references that appeared to be not my own. So the authorities looked at it and they deemed it okay in the end, and I got a good grade for it.
That's good. So, did you have any guest lecturers attend?
We actually did have a guest lecturer in the person of Mr. Richard Lewis, who was an executive for a logistics company called What 3 Words. And What 3 Words did the revolutionary thing of mapping out the entire globe into 3-meter segments, essentially making every part of the world have its own unique address. And what that did was it essentially uprooted or placed itself as an affront to the established Royal Mail and others, finding locations more easily accessible, and helping people, particularly within the emergency services, to deal with call-outs effectively, in that they can get to people in a precise way in a very short space of time. So it was really good listening to Richard deliver that lecture. He spoke of risk, he spoke of adversity, he spoke even of luck, and how it was luck that kind of got him into this business, because he was launching a game and the game didn't work out, and he was seeking some advice, and then he stumbled across these guys, and then now he's actually representing them as a consultant. So that turned out to be quite interesting. Most of the class, they couldn't hold back the questions. So yeah, we found that a very engaging opportunity for us.
Okay, and were there any pairing or partnering opportunities?
Yes, as part of the program, we had to pair on particular assignments in order to break up the atmosphere in the class, because many of us are from different regions of the world and we don't know each other. So the course convener felt it was a good idea to pair us on several assignments. So the first time we were paired, I was paired with a young lady by the name of Sarah, who was from Tunisia, and we were looking at sharing our experiences of failures and success. And that was particularly difficult for me because, I don't reach out very well to strangers. And it would appear that that might have been Sarah's equal sentiment. So together we shared, our failures and successes. She shared the fact that she, in terms of a failure, she ventured all the way from Tunisia to Colombia to do some Spanish training, only to discover when she got there that it never existed. Her success was that of a food and drink event that turned out to be quite good. My failure was a job skills directory, which went south quite quickly and cost me a lot of money. And the success was a food and drink festival in 2017. So that essentially was the first experience of being paired up.
Okay, and were there any other opportunities to meet students?
There was another one where we were paired, and this time I was paired with a young lady from China, Alice. We were looking at an idea that looked at the mousetrap, I think it was, where we were required to do a presentation on the early bird catches the worm and the latter mouse gets the cheese. And we had to put that in a business context. And of course, Alice and I hadn't known each other before, but somehow we managed to work out what the phrases meant, because she, being Chinese, had never heard of the phrase before. So I explained to her what it was, and together we were able to present to the class a reasonable explanation as to what that really meant.
Okay, so were there any class cancellations or anything that affected your learning?
Yeah, there was a class cancellation that happened on the worst possible day. My car broke down. I couldn't get to uni, only to find when I did get there, having used the train and the bus, that there was a cancellation because there was a conflict of scheduling. So that was pretty annoying for me, but nonetheless, I got through it.
Okay, so thank you very much for your time. It was really great speaking to you about your lecture. It seems like if it managed to help you out a lot. And is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, yeah, I mean, the course was quite good. I mean, I enjoyed it. There was a lot of learning. There's still a lot of learning to be done. There's a lot of reading. But I'd like to say that, being a leader, you take for granted that you've got skills that are important for leadership. But until you actually get to the theory, you don't really know. And there's so much theory to be learned on this program, and there's so much more that I need to know about this program. And I think the introductions that I made with my peers from China, from Thailand, from Africa, from India, has put me in good stead in terms of how it is I can relate with people from different groups, different parts of the world, which I was sort of resistant to prior to coming on this program. So I've learned a lot. What I'm going to do in the future now is to apply those new skills in terms of how to deal with different cultures, how to apply techniques of leadership, how to be effectual as a leader, which is important because I believe in spontaneity rather than being stuck in the whole realm of causal entrepreneurialism. So I thank Henley Business School. I thank Shahina for her tolerance with me being the elder statesman, so to speak, on the course. But yeah, it was a fantastic opportunity. I'm still open to learning more for the next 5 months while the course ensues. And I hope that between now and then, I'm not only able to learn, but also able to pass on a lot of what I've learned through rote over the years, doing my bits and pieces in media, working with DHL, working with other entities. And I look forward to meeting more people, doing more exercises that can help me to be a more rounded, a more responsible, and a more engaging individual as a leader in today's highly competitive environment. So I thank you once again. And this is me, David Roberts, signing off from the entrepreneurial program of Henley Business School. Thank you.